everybody, and welcome back to episode 22 of PW in 20. Maya, how's things? How are you? I feel like we haven't recorded this short in time in
I
between. It's
know.
so long.
It's like, "Oh, I just saw you last week." No,
Oh
things
my
are good.
god.
I'm about to go on vacation, so I'm just, like, in those last minute, dashes to get everything going, but I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I feel like um I just read earlier that we've gotten through like the worst time of like the winter solstice,
Oh,
like the
nice.
longest.
Mhm.
And my mental health is excited to hear about that
Yeah.
because it's just
Honestly,
too dark.
it's getting lighter,
Mhm.
so that's nice in the evenings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree completely.
Are you
Completely.
wearing your new,
I,
merch?
I am.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It's
I
really
love
nice and
it.
it's really comfy. Like I like my stuff baggy.
Me too.
And this is like two sizes like too big than like my
Mhm.
actual size and it's perfect. And then so it was a birthday gift for my wife and then she
Yeah.
also got me the t-shirt. So for those who are listening and maybe not watching, I'm wearing the like burgundy Peace Collective Montreal Victoire crew neck and it is unbelievable. It's so comfy. And then the t-shirt's like this like cream and it's really nice. That I haven't worn like fully yet. Like I've tried it
Mhm.
on and stuff, but I'm excited to wear that. But yes, I
Oh,
am
it
wearing
looks
it and
great.
you have some new merch on too.
I'm wearing
Nice
Ice
beanie.
Garden toque.
Isn't it a nice hat?
It's so
Is
nice.
it a
I'm
really nice
obsessed
hat?
with it.
Yeah,
Yeah. We do sell these.
we do.
So,
I love that
yeah,
logo too. That logo's so good.
me too.
It's like a
Yeah.
greenhouse. It's so pretty. Yeah, when I got it in, I honestly kind of forgot about it, and I didn't even see Michelle's message saying that like 3 or 4 Canadians should get it that day,
Yeah.
the day I got it. And so like I went to go check the mail and it was there. And at first I was like, what is this? It's usually like hockey cards if it comes from the States,
Mhm.
but it wasn't a hockey card looking package. And then
No,
it clicked right away and I was like, yeah. And I was stoked by how nice of a hat it was. Not that
me
I would
too.
have still been stoked if it was just like
Mhm.
whatever, but it's a nice hat.
Yeah.
Big
It
fan.
fits well. It's great.
Yeah. Love it. I like the gray too. I think gray was a good choice. Yeah,
Mhm. Yeah, so
absolutely.
keep if you're at any PWHL games, keep your eyes peeled for people wearing these toques because it's probably
Absolutely.
one of our
It
coworkers or
probably
us.
or us, yeah.
Mhm.
I love it. What a week. We've had about
Mhm.
4 games since the last time we recorded. And the big one, no, this isn't the big one. This is the second game I'm thinking of. Sorry, I'm like reading that. I'm like, that's not right. Montreal is just cruising along. They've been
Mhm.
just unreal. They were back at home for the first time in a very long time, like their actual home rink, which was,
Yeah.
I'm sure, very nice for not only like the players and the staff, but also for the fans. To be like, okay, you had fun. Now come back
Yeah.
home.
Come back
Come
to
back.
us.
Come
Yeah.
back. And so big 4-2 victory over the Frost with
Mhm.
Barine, who's just been like, she's. What are we doing, Minnesota?
I know.
Why do we just let her go?
The Victoire, like, tweeted, like, "We're so happy we drafted Abby Boreen," and I was just like, "You know what? You're right,
Yeah,
like, they
yeah,
really messed up."
yeah. And I think this was the game Stacy got hurt because she was only in there for a few minutes and then she left and she hasn't played
Yeah.
since, which is not ideal.
Mhm. Womp.
Womp womp.
Womp womp.
Yeah, it
And
sucks. But it
Glenn
doesn't
looked
seem like
really
this week.
sad.
Did you see her throwing the body everywhere?
Yeah. She was
It's like
like, this isn't gonna fly anymore, okay?
she's
You
like, I'm
can't
just
injure my
tossing the
wife."
body
Yeah.
everywhere. She gave
Oh,
Curl a
good.
hit, and it's kind of
Mhm.
a dumb penalty. I don't think it should have been called, but whatever. But I gotta giggle out. I gotta giggle out of that. I was like, yeah, I like that a
Yep.
lot. So yeah, but without Laura Stacy and most of the lineup for most of the game, the Victoire come out on top, which is a big victory because when we had last
Mhm.
recorded, the top 2 teams were Montreal and Minnesota. So
Mhm.
obviously, big for Montreal to get that
Yeah.
win, and their week stayed hot as they were back on the road, but closer to home this time in Quebec City, which this is crazy. The first professional hockey in Quebec City since the Nordiques left.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
And
wild.
holy moly, they showed out over
Yeah.
18,000 people at the rink where the Quebec Ramparts normally play. And the crowd, like, just full body chills, of course. It's cool to see. Like, obviously, Pooh started, Dubois started, and then there was another Montreal, like,
Yeah, I think
forward.
LaBelle maybe was the other
Yeah,
one.
LaBelle was the other
Yeah.
one. And then, of course, Andrew Devian was in net. So, like, 4 out of the 5, or 4 out of the 6, math, were from Quebec, which is pretty cool.
Mhm.
And that's like all their
Yeah.
Quebec people, which I love that a lot. And speaking of
Yeah.
Dubois, she got a big goal.
She did. I was so happy for her because they were saying on the broadcast that she grew up like 5 minutes from that
So
rink. Like,
close. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
amazing.
That's such a
Also,
cool opportunity.
this game was honestly such like an advertisement to me to go back to Quebec City because I haven't been since I was like in grade 5 or something, so like
Oh,
since I was
wow.
10, and my dad and I were watching like all the clips that they were putting up of like the things that the teams did in preparation for the game and stuff, and we were both just like, we have to go back. We need to
Yeah, I've
go right
never
now.
been to Quebec City. I've been like kind of near it, but I've never been actually
Mhm.
to Quebec City, so I might join you.
Yeah. Yeah, we should go.
Yeah, quite the atmosphere, and of course, like, I love watching the intros and stuff, but it was cool to
Mhm.
see Dubois at that moment too, not only to
Yeah.
score but be in the starting lineup and all that. And yeah, big 2-1 win. Mash was insane for Ottawa.
Mhm.
So good. And
Yeah.
also Davian was pretty good too on the other end as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think like Emerance Maschmeyer was good for Ottawa and they lost is like the mantra
That's
of
just
Ottawa's
yeah,
season this year. Yeah,
100%.
it's unfortunate.
And speaking of Ottawa goaltending,
Mhm.
Gwyneth Phillips, welcome to the PWHL,
Yeah.
with a 1-0 victory over the Frost. The
Mhm.
rookie gets a shutout in also her first win too, right?
Yeah, because
I
they
believe.
lost she lost to the Frost, I think, in the game that she
Yes.
started on like kind of a bad goal right at the end.
Yep.
So, revenge, a win,
Love
a
it.
shutout. What more could you want, really?
Yeah, I'd love to see that. And again, we've talked about this last week, but like more teams seem to be using more than just
Mhm.
their one goalie, and especially for Ottawa too, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's big
I
there. And
think sorry, I think last year there was only one game in the whole season that MASH did not start.
she
So,
played a lot. She played
yeah.
so many games, which, like, she was good, and it makes sense. But like, it is nice to see that they not only leaned on their other goalie, but she performed for them. Obviously, you would like to see
Mhm.
your team in front of her get a couple more goals, but the end of the day, it just
Yep.
doesn't matter if you're winning 1-0 anyways.
Exactly.
So shout out to her. That's a huge milestone.
Mhm.
And I think we also mentioned last week, like, there hasn't been that many shutouts. Like, it
Yeah,
hasn't
you
been,
were saying that last
yeah, a
week.
whole lot. And so, like, for her to get a shutout too, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
I think it's like
Congratulations to
her
her.
and Corrine Schroeder.
I think that's it. I
Yeah.
think, and then Schroeds has like two, which is just
Mhm.
insane. And then our last game, which was last night of the week, was the Battle of the Bottom. Holy
Yeah.
moly, what a mess.
It was I only watched the end of the first period, but yeah, not a great game to watch, but also like just not good for
No.
Toronto. Yeah.
They I don't even know what it is, but they are struggling to score, and just even like just watching them in the offensive
Mhm.
zone, I'm like, what are you doing? Like, they're just like messy. Like, it's just like
Yeah.
nothing's connecting. I don't know
The
if it's
defense is not very good either.
mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just about to pull up the like game summary from this. Um, yeah, like, I mean, Toronto had a bunch of shots, but like,
Mhm.
you're also going up against Aaron Frankel. Like, those need to be
Exactly.
really, really good shots. Like,
Yeah.
like, those need to be decent shots. Also, like, Toronto's power play has
Mhm.
to get going here. Oh my god, you got too much
Yeah.
star power to not be going.
And that's the thing. It's like they have all of these really, really strong players, but it just doesn't feel like they know how to like work together.
It's
Even
so
though
weird.
so many of them are from last year. It's not like they've
Hmm.
rebuilt this entire team.
Yeah, it's really weird to watch. Like, I don't know
Yeah.
if it's like a like they're not being deployed right. I'm not really sure. I haven't been watching. Like I've been watching, but I haven't been watching from like the perspective of like looking at the lines and stuff to
Mhm.
see who's actually
Same.
playing together. But like, oh, it's a bit miserable.
Yeah, and it kind of this I don't know, this game kind of feels like the, like, I don't know, TSN turning point. Last year, I feel like Toronto wasn't doing very well, but I don't know that a lot of us were like, "Uh-oh." We were just like, "Oh, yeah, they're not just, like, quite finding their stride," but and then they
This
went
is
on that crazy
different.
streak. This is
Yeah,
different. One
yeah,
of
this is really
the
different.
one of my Twitter, mutuals and I last night were talking about what we have to do to, like, change Toronto, and we were saying that maybe CJ needs to get in the lineup, but as, like, a forward, and just go score some goals.
Just go score some goals. Siege could
Mhm.
definitely do that,
Yeah.
100%.
But
Yeah,
I don't know, I feel like next game you put Kirk in and CJ backup. Like, just why
yeah.
not
When
try
and
it,
it's a
you
home
know?
game. I
Yeah.
just was looking at the schedule. It's a home game. It's also oh
Oh, it's
Scotiabank
against
Arena. Am I reading this right?
Oh! Oh, then maybe not. Maybe they won't do that.
Is this really at Scotiabank Arena?
I
Why
feel
did
like
I
they
not?
haven't been promoting that at all.
Unless it's I don't know why it would be labeled wrong. This site has it
Yeah.
as weird.
Yeah.
Huh.
Interesting, and it's against New York, which
That's what I
might
was
not
about to
go
just say.
well.
I was about to
Yeah.
be like, you're playing a team who's high scoring right now and like looking pretty good, and like I don't know, you're not gonna
Well,
get far.
it's completely sold out.
Yeah, I was just
So,
about to look at the tickets too. How?
yeah.
Oh, it's a battle on Bay Street. Oh,
Yeah. But I feel
okay.
like
I
we haven't
didn't
heard a
know.
lot about it. I didn't know.
That's crazy. Well, that's exciting. Okay, that's
Yeah, yay!
exciting. I had no idea that was happening. Um, it's really funny. It is sold out, standing room only, which is wild.
Mhm. That's great.
Okay, so that's a really big game. That's like
Yeah.
you want to perform for your full NHL barn,
Mhm.
not your typical like half of that. Well, a little more than half, but yeah, like this is I don't know. I think you need some sort of jolt, and
Mhm.
maybe it's getting like maybe not this game, but maybe the next game they play getting Siege in there. But you
Yep.
gotta do something because that's just not it's not ideal.
No, and I feel like this is a
It's
good segue into talking about the rivalry series.
yeah, because
So,
we
yeah.
have the Canadian roster. The American roster,
Mhm.
as of the time of this recording, is not out yet. But there's two more games in the rivalry series this year. They're both out east in Canada, which is really fun. Um, and Canada's roster came out, and not too many surprises.
No.
But the one that like a lot of people were talking about was Kristen Campbell being left off.
Mhm.
And I was looking at rosters from last year's. The second half of the rivalry series last year, she was also taken off of it for
That's true.
Kareen Schroeder.
Yeah. She did Schroeds did play last year. Well, she didn't play,
So
but she was on the roster.
I really hope she gets a game this year.
Me too.
Um, but yeah, so that was the big one. Kristen Campbell not part of the roster, which like I feel for her. Like I don't
Mhm.
really think this issue going on in Toronto right now is anything to do with goaltending. I
No.
just think it's not helping at the same
Yeah.
time. But yeah, and then Sophie Jakes is back up. Um, we got a few other smaller just
Jennifer Gardner, I think,
Gardner from
is yeah.
Montreal. And there's one more. Zandy Hart
Oh, yeah.
is back, which is cool. I love to see that.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's I just feel for Soupy. Like I
Yeah,
just yeah want her to find her game back here, and her team in front of her needs to play better though, because this is just not
I
that's
agree.
just not
Yeah.
ideal.
And that's a really good point that you made about it happening last year as well. I think it's, like, blown a little bit out of proportion this year just because of what's been going on there and, Troy Ryan maybe saying that he doesn't have, like, the same confidence in her, whatever, like, it's just, like, the timing is bad.
The
But I
timing is
still think
brutal. Yeah.
she's an elite level goaltender, and, like, she was
Mhm.
goaltender of the year last year for a reason,
Yeah,
so
I think that might
yeah.
be also why it's so shocking, right? Is
Mhm.
like she and this team was, as much as they struggled just like a little bit at the start, like they were dominant and like playing really well, like scoring a bunch. Their power play was clicking,
Yeah.
especially towards the end of the regular season. And like, we're at a point now where it's like, gosh, like, what are we doing?
Mhm.
what
Yeah.
are we
Absolutely.
doing? So fingers crossed that they kind of, because like I don't know, I want to see the standings like super close personally. Like I want it to
Yes,
be
me
like
too.
where it's just constantly changing. Um, but we'll see where things go. But again, since we last chatted, they haven't even earned a point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
and
they've only
they're
played one game, but like
yeah.
they still haven't earned a point.
Yeah, and, they're more than 10 points
Yeah.
out of first, so
Yeah.
not great.
No, not at all.
Speaking of the attendance in Toronto for the next game against New York, there's been some discussion about the New York franchise and them not having as many players out as some of the other teams get, or maybe not having as dedicated of a fan base. What are your thoughts on that?
Okay, I here's my issue with this whole entire thing is I think it's too early to be like, well, not working in New Jersey
Mhm.
slash New York, let's go elsewhere. I think it's way too early. I think the sport has been through way too much. I think these players, the staff, etc., the fans, everyone in between has been through too much for us to just be like, okay, let's get out of
Mhm.
here. It's only been 2 years. But I truly think the league has an issue right now with their um, marketing and their partnerships and um, their broadcasting everything in the United States.
Mhm.
And it's a primarily like other than the not counting the board because the board they're mostly American, but like when you think of who actually is running the show, like everyone's Canadian, which there's nothing wrong with that, but like it seems like the league is running through Canada right now, which again, nothing wrong with that. But you're
We like
seeing,
that, but yeah.
yeah, you're seeing the struggles, right, of these American cities, and like each team is league owned right now. So like
Mhm.
it's not even to say like, well, like New York's ownership. It's like, well, no, New York's ownership is also Montreal's ownership and also
Yeah.
this and that. And I'm not saying that New York and Montreal are the same in terms of women's hockey crowds that they're gonna get, but like I think it comes a time where like maybe they just need to get a bit more creative with how they're doing things and whatnot. But like, yeah, I don't know. It's hard to see. I just had it up and I think I closed it by accident. But I was gonna look at the I think it was like over 1,000 people who were at the game, their last game, which is just oh, it sucks.
Yeah, it's really too bad, and I think I don't know, like, again, I agree with you, like, I think we're making, like, split second decisions on things that
Yeah,
don't need to be made, but I also think that the numbers we're seeing in Canada are possibly more of an anomaly than they are of, like, a
100%.
normalcy, and,
Mm-hmm.
like, obviously, it would be great for, like, Boston to have more fans come out, New York too, but yeah, it's early. New York just moved to another new rink.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Obviously, there's some, like, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut thing about, like, who the team actually is and where
Yeah.
they're actually playing, but yeah, I feel like it's, like, not a problem yet. And
No, no, and the team
there are
is
some
good.
quick
I think
fixes.
if the
Yeah.
team was bad, like I think if we're talking last year's New York team
Mhm.
and like that wasn't a great team, the vibes are bad, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Like I think that I would be a bit more worried. Like I think I'd be like, ooh, maybe this is a little bit worrying. Like, but no,
Yeah.
they have one of the best young like forwards in the world.
Yeah.
Alex Carpenter is at her best. They got one of the best goaltenders in the league right now. They have an incredible blue line. Like their coach has been great, etc., etc. Like I think they're fine. It's just I think for me it's a bigger conversation than just New York though.
Yeah.
I talk to friends who are in the States and it's like even like I watch hockey with friends over in the States and like here when I'm watching hockey, like men's hockey,
Mhm.
I'm seeing Sarah Nurse. I'm seeing all these
Yeah.
women's hockey players in countless commercials and stuff, which like at this point I don't even flinch anymore, which is
No,
so
it's
good because
like
I did for a
yeah,
while,
me
but
too.
like I wouldn't even flinch, right? And then
Mhm.
when I see it in the States, if like I don't know, my friend has like NHL Network on or
Mhm.
something, they're like ESPN Plus, anything along the lines of that. If I see like I think I saw Taylor Heisey like um I think she's Bauer. It's whatever. I
Mhm.
think she's Bauer. It's whatever equipment company she's with.
Yeah.
It was that type, and she was in it, but she wasn't in PWHL stuff. She was in like Team USA stuff, which is
Mhm.
fine. But like here, when you watch it here, it's like they're in. There's like a car commercial with like random like
Yeah.
Montreal Victoire. They're wearing their last year's stuff, but it's like they're wearing PWHL stuff, and like I don't know. I think I'm also hearing from people in the States they never hear about games. And like I think that for me, it's a bigger issue than just New York, because it's New York. It's like it's gonna
Yeah.
work. It's just
Yeah.
we need to figure that out. And I have like I'm not worried that the league has that under control. I think also what's a bit annoying too is the lack of like quote unquote national broadcaster in the States. Like
Mhm.
you have Nesson, you have MSG Network, you have Bally. Well, it's not Bally. It's
Some
FanDuel
yeah,
Sports.
betting people.
Yeah. You have those, but those are all
Local.
um, they're little, but they're
Mhm.
regional. They're regional
Yeah.
games. You can't watch them anywhere else. So
Mhm.
like, how are people even supposed to know? Like, I don't know. Like, I live in the New York area. I'm not gonna just randomly turn on the MSG network by accident
Yeah.
if I don't already know there's a game, right? So like how are they supposed to know? And I think that's just a bigger conversation. And I hope that and I in a way have like hope that those are conversations that
Totally.
are being had, but I don't think there's room to panic. Yes,
No, and
Sarah
we
Fillier doing her thing. You think you're good.
exactly, and we know that there are women's sports teams that are really successful in the New York
One just
area.
won. Literally one just won
Exactly.
in front of sold out
Yeah.
crowds and like literally did some amazing things. They have a mascot who is literally worldwide known. Like
Yeah,
they'll be fine. It
exactly.
just takes
It's not
time
worth
to
worrying about right now.
no.
Yeah.
I saw that there's someone wrote an article about how they should already relocate. I'm like, okay,
Mhm. Yeah.
relax. Simmer down. Simmer down. The body isn't even just like it's not warm. The
Yeah.
body's alive. Like we're good.
Yes, exactly.
like it's not icy, we're good.
Yeah.
um yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But player of the week. You have something new you want to try.
Yes, so I thought it would be fun to, like, pick a player, each week that we thought was, like, the top because each of us because, we used to talk about, like, who the top players were in the week, but we often covered them in, like, the game breakdowns anyway,
Yeah.
so I figured this would be a good way. Do you wanna start?
You go.
Okay, mine is Alina Mueller.
Damn.
Um
I had two though. I had two. You're good. You're good. I had two. I'm like, okay, this one's that one. If she picks that, I'll do that one. But that was my one of them.
I didn't write it on the sheet, and then I was like, "Wait, I bet we're gonna
No,
have
it's
the same
fine.
one because
It's
we
fine.
always do." Anyway, okay, I'll talk about her. Even though we share, like, the same brain cells. So,
So funny.
I think, like, I've actually kind of felt, underwhelmed by her play in the PWHL as a whole. I think, like, when we saw her on the international stage, she was so, so, so talented, and I think she still is, but I just don't know that it's, like, really clicked for her in Boston, and especially this year. Until last night's game, she only had 1 point, and they've played, like, what, 12, 11 games?
She
So
was injured for a little bit. She had a
mhm,
concussion, and like that
yeah,
takes a bit to feel like yourself. But I agree.
totally.
But like it was
Yeah.
a goal, wasn't it? Didn't she score?
So she had a goal and an assist last night, and her
Nice.
assist was beautiful. She
That's
easily
the one I
could have,
saw.
like,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, she easily could have just, like, shot the
yeah.
puck behind the back, but it was a behind the back pass. It
That's what
was
she does. Yeah.
beautiful. Yeah. And I just thought, like, that was the game that she needed to have at this point in the season with Boston being where they are, and she was a huge reason that they won last night. And so I think, yeah, hopefully she can continue on at that level and 2 points every couple games.
Love it.
Perfect. It's exactly
Yeah.
what you need. Yeah.
100%. My other option was Abby Boreen. We've already mentioned her off the top here, but to I'm pretty sure she's from Minnesota. Like she's a Minnesota girl. Literally helped them win the Walter Cup last year. Was a reserve player, but then also played some regular season and playoff games, and then re-entered the draft because that was allowed and that was a thing
Yep.
because of the contract she had. And then doesn't get picked after round, and I think in like the fifth or sixth round, Minnesota or not Minnesota, Montreal goes, "Oh, we'll take her," and I
Mhm.
think a lot of us were like, "Whoa, really? Like that's weird," but okay.
Yeah.
And she all season long has been unreal, but to step up in a game against your old team, your
Mhm.
buddies. It wasn't in Minnesota, but still, like
Yeah.
like you're that's got to feel pretty good.
Yeah, and
So
yeah,
shout out to
exactly,
her.
like, how
And a
good does
two goal
that feel?
performance. Yeah.
Yeah, revenge game. She's from Wisconsin, but she went to
Oh,
University of Minnesota,
okay,
so,
but it's from
basically.
Wisconsin, tomato, tomato. Same thing. But yeah, she did go to Minnesota. That's what I was
Yeah,
thinking of. But Wisconsin is
yeah.
pretty much Minnesota at that point.
No,
Pretty much
I
merges.
totally agree. I think, like, um, Montreal maybe isn't seeing the same amount of production from their star players as they were last season or as they maybe are expecting to see, and it's those players like Boreen who are just, like, stepping up in the
100%.
most necessary way, so
Yeah,
I
and
agree.
then also this was a game where Laura Stacy got hurt, right?
Mhm.
So like for her to step up to honestly, Montreal's depth has been really underrated all
Yeah.
season. Like Michaela Grant Mentes has a few goals and
Mhm.
she's like contributing both ends of the ice. Like there's been a couple of like players that I've watched game in and game out who I'm like, damn, like they're really going this year. Like they like you said, like some of their bigger players I'm sure they'd like a little bit more out of, but I think right now they're making up for it by their depth, which is nice to see.
I definitely agree.
Awesome.
Also, Maureen Murphy, another player who's been playing really well too on their
Yes,
team, so
very well, very
yeah.
underrated, very
Mhm.
underrated. I feel like because she doesn't put up a lot of points, but she's just
Yeah.
so strong back there, and um, yeah. So
Yeah.
um, that's all for me. Anything else to add from you?
That's all for me too. There's a bunch of games next week, but now
Yes.
that they're playing so much more, which is lovely, I don't think that it makes sense for us to break down every single game next
Yeah.
week. But there are games.
There are games. There's lots.
Yeah.
So lots to look out for. Again, will Toronto bounce back? Apparently, they're playing at Scotiabank. No idea. I had no idea.
Yeah. Nope.
But thank you all so much for watching, listening, wherever you're catching us from here. We appreciate you. And as always, if you want to support us in other ways, you can always click articles and stuff and whatnot and listen to all of our other episodes. But there also is our paid subscription, which helps you get pieces that nobody else can pretty much, and it's just exclusive content for our paid subscribers. It helps us get paid, helps us do more fun things, and it's very much appreciated.
Yes.
Awesome,
Thank
thank
you.
you all so much. And Maya, have a good vacation.
Thanks.
All right, bye everybody.
Bye.